friends, welcome to my vlog. I am Noelle and this week we are doing part 2 of making this Angelica gown. Hopefully this will be the last part, but I'm not guaranteeing anything. I have her about halfway done. The bodice is completely together except the front part, which we're going to be handling today. Very excited about that. If you haven't seen part 1 of the Angelica series, I will leave a link for it up here and down below in the description section, where there are lots of links for you guys. So if you have any questions about anything, people always ask me where this guy came from. Everything's linked down below for you guys. But for those of you who want to skip that, let's do a little check-in on where we are so far. Okay, we have the lining fully together, as you can see, including the straps. We did a strap fitting. We did some eyelets, which you can barely see because the lining laces up. This is my fancy Busher twine lacing cord for right now. Cool. We have almost all the silk on except the front section. These little wings on the side here need to be brought around and basted down to make good sides, but then we have most of it together. And then the first things that we're going to deal with are getting that front on there. So the first thing we're going to do is prep the front. We're going to baste it together. Then we're going to prick stitch the front to the front seam, also to the side seam, whip down the top and the bottom. But before I do any of that, I'm actually going to baste this side piece down to its lining section so it's all firmly on there, and that will be good. A pin blob for you guys. Cool, so I did baste the side down and then I prepped the front, and they tell you to baste this down like all over here, which I get for sure. However, then they tell you to try it on and then adjust as necessary. But if that is basted on, you can't really adjust as necessary. So I'm gonna try it on like this and see what I can see. Okay, so it's pretty good. I've rearranged them like 5 or 6 times. It's probably impossible to see because it's black and we have lighting situations, but I've pinned it pretty well. I feel pretty good about it. I think it's gonna be weird no matter what. So I'm gonna go ahead and stitch. Always showing you black. Okay, so we're at the halfway point. I've got this side on, and this side is not on, but there are some things that I will try to fix later, / I'm not sure about. It's very hard to see here, but like the silk is like weird right here. I don't love that right in the middle and the front of my dress, and like that is no good. Oh, you can see it better now. I don't love that. Not really sure what to do about that. Like, should I cut a new piece, cut it off, and like start over and re-sew it on there? This edge is a little wonky, but it's actually like growing on me, so I'm not that stressed about it. But like, I don't know. This really bothers me. I don't love it. I don't really know what to do about it. Other than I'd have to spend another, whatever, 4 hours I just spent sewing. Well, first of all, pick this whole thing off and then go cut a new one and put it on. But I might. Like, that is an option. I'm gonna see how this one goes. But this one is like starting to do the same things. I think it's just like the silk is being overhandled. I've pasted around my house. I don't really love the way either of these pieces look. So I think I'm gonna cut new front pieces, and I'm gonna cut this one off, and I'm gonna restart this front section, which sucks. But here we are. I just think it's overhandled, it's been over ironed, it's been like, because it's cut on the bias, it's been pulled too much with iron. I just abused it too much while I was trying to figure out what I was even doing. Now I know a little bit better about what I'm doing. I feel like I can make a little bit better of choices about handling and heat and steam and other things. Cool. So I'm gonna recut and then go hack this off and maybe resew this tomorrow. While I'm cleaning off my work table to cut fabric again, I wanted to say thank you to Sarah who sent me these lovely cards. Thank you so much, they're beautiful. I love them. I might put them up in my bathroom. Okay, so I've cut new fabric. I am gonna go pull this off here. I mean, this one's just pinned on, but the other one is fully stitched on with tiny little back stitches, so it's not even gonna be easy to get off. Cool beans. And then I'm gonna come do the edges of the new one because, you know, you gotta do the whole prep of the fabric again. Okay, so what did we learn here? Silk can be overhandled. Not everything that you think you can get out with an iron can be gotten out with an iron. Steam is not always the answer. I've worked with a lot of silk taffeta in my life, and I'm usually like good with it. This one fought me. I'm gonna make some changes on how I do it this time that are just like microscopic and have to do with me, you know, sitting on my bed stitching, watching 6 episodes of The Expanse. Because now I'm watching The Expanse. For anybody who watches The Expanse, feel free to go down in the comments and talk to me about The Expanse. I'm on episode, I think 9 or 10 now, and so of season 1, so we'll see how this goes. There are 6 seasons of this show. I've always wanted to watch the show. I do have to say, because I'm stitching though, I'm like, there's a lot of it that you have to like look at because it keeps switching between 3 different places or 4 different places depending on what's going on. And stuff happens that's just like on the screen, but you know, it's not talking. So like, I think I have to go watch a lot of this again, which I'm like, great, do. Cool. So I'm gonna deal with the situation as quickly and quietly as I can. I know that this is right for me in my heart because I do not want to make this whole gown and then just like hate the very front of it. If this was like on the side back of like a bustle dress or something, I'd be like, whatever, just go hang out over there. But because it's front and center on this gown and like I want this gown to be nice and at least like, you know, fit well and look nice, especially in the center front, it is the right decision for me to do this again. And like, that's a life lesson. Sometimes you just gotta do it again. Okay, it's been a few days. I have done some things around the house. I have done another video. I edited that dress form video so that it could go out. I put my mind somewhere else. And now I'm back trying to get this thing stitched. So I have a different tactic. I'm not gonna follow the instructions. I'm gonna see if, like after thinking it through a little bit, if this new way I want to do it is going to work a little bit better. So let me show you that. Okay, so previously they had you fold under this front section and pin it in with a little bit of an overlap here and that section. They also had you fold under this situation and this situation, the top curve. And that ended up not aligning correctly. And so once they're both folded and they're not, because the linen just does what linen does, right? Like stretches and gets weird and whatever, so they didn't match. Cool. So what I'm gonna do this time is sew on the front and the side, and then I also curved under like a little bit here so that I could get to this sewing point. And then this bottom also I will tuck under once I get under there, get down to that point at the right spot. But basically I'm gonna do all of this afterwards and I'm just gonna match it to the lining. Instead of having the lining be too long and too short, like waving a little bit, I'm gonna go through and match them together, like pull them both in and out until they match up and then sew them. And I think that will have a smoother effect on this curve. It will also let me not be pulling on this constantly, which is what happened to make this part of the piece last time be so stretched. It is on the bias, so stretching is a thing, and also this piece, because it's on the bias but it's actually like shrunken down, I am like sort of tugging on the lining one a lot, but not the outer one. I actually cut the outer one much longer so that I could have enough space to not have to be pulling on it all the time. So that was another thing I changed about what I've done. If this works out, I'll make note about that on the pattern. Okay, I have the front and the side sewn down, And now I want to tuck this up under so that it's basically exactly along this line, or, you know, just a little bit out. And it's helpful to do it after it's attached so you know exactly where it goes. I'm going to clip some seams here and then tuck it under so that I can stitch it. Why, hello there. It's been quite some time. Like, I think 3 months. It took me. I put this project down and I did not pick it up for that long, and boy howdy is that a problem at this point. But as the kids say, I am back on my bullshit. I have put the other front on her. I still have issues with it. Like, I don't fully love it, but I also don't hate it enough that I think I'm gonna back out yet, but we're gonna talk about that. Okay, so here's what it looks like. And it, like, these two lines not like converging weird is because the interior is like overlapping at the bottom. It'll be different when I have it on my body. However, so this thing just kind of laces shut in there, and then you just close these and move on with your day. Like, you can pin them if you want, but you don't have to. But you can see that this is wiggly, and it's because this is bias cut, and in the movement of getting these on, this edge has stretched, which sucks, frankly. And it's not something that goes away with ironing, which I would really have loved if that was the case, but okay. So that is where we are. As I see it, I have, I think, 4 choices. Okay, choice number 1 is I scrap this. I just start over, make a new dress. That seems like a bummer and a waste of most of a perfectly good bodice. Like, I was looking at the interior seams of this bodice the other day. They are gorgeous. I did a damn fine job on those English stitches in the inside, man. I don't want to waste that work. And the back looks great, so I don't really see a problem with that. This front is killing me right now, but it is how it is. So the next option is that I pull the whole front off and I do it again. So I've already done that, and I spend a bunch of time doing it again. Okay, that's an option. Option number 3 is I pull both the black and the purple panel off the front, and I form the bodice in the way that I am more used to, that does not have that lacing on the inside, that where the interior lining piece of the bodice just gets tucked up under and they meet, and the whole thing just gets pinned shut. So that is option number 3. I don't hate that option, but it's a lot of work. Option number 4 is that I carry on, which is, I think, the option that I should do. I talked to my friend Hannah, I talked to a couple other friends, and most people so far have said, at least for the purposes of going on this trip, which is happening in October, so I have 5 weeks-ish, maybe a little bit less now, to make this gown plus a whole bunch of other things that I need, because this vacation that I'm going on, vacation, it is not a vacation, it is a trip. This trip that I'm going on is gonna contain, like, I think we're up to like 7-ish photo shoots at this point. So I don't think that's a good idea for me to back up. Many people have pointed out that I can just carry on, put some trim over that, get the skirt on, get it all together, get the sleeves on, get it like ready to wear. No one will notice anything if there's trim over it, all of it. It might be fine no matter what, because I still haven't put it on my body and looked at it. Just carry on, carry forth, and then if I still hate it after the ball, go ahead and change out the front. Like, I could unpick the whole front and take it off and put a new one on. Like, that is not the worst thing that I could do, right? Like, it sucks, but it's something that could happen later to make me like this dress more. And it very well may be the option that I take at this point. I do think I need to try it on, so that's what I'm gonna go do right now, is put that on there and then sort of make the decision on what I wanna do going forward. Okay, so obviously everything I show you is ever gonna be black on black. You know, it's fine. Like, I don't love it. I also, this weird like point it's coming to should not be happening, and I'm not really sure why it's happening. But I need to look at that. But I don't hate it. Like, there's some some bubble in here that I don't love, and this is like wrinkly in a way I don't love and whatever, but I think if I put trim on it, it's gonna cover all this up. And so I think I am gonna take the path of least resistance, which is to carry on, put the skirt on, put the sleeves on, put some trim on it, and wear it to this event, hopefully. Anyway, I guess I don't hate it enough that I'm not willing to just carry on, go forth, put the skirt on, put the sleeves on, put some trim on it, and see what we think once we get to that point. Like if I get desperate at the end, maybe I'll do some royal surgery here, but for the purposes of moving forward, and given that I have stalled out for so long, I think the best path right now is just to move forward and to deal with the minor things that I don't like that, like, I think literally no one else will ever see. Like, honestly, it bothers me, but that's fine. It can go ahead and bother me, and I can maybe cut a new bodice later. After many, many months on the board, let's just take a moment to get this down. I can finally get rid of this. Woo! Let's take a minute and do some mail time. My friend Catherine and I were talking, and I mentioned I had never had a pumpkin spice anything because I don't like coffee, so I'd never had one. Like, I'm pro people having pumpkin spice latte. If it makes you happy in this world, man, have it. I just don't like coffee, so I've never had one. I guess I could get a pumpkin spice chai, but I don't know if that would be affected by, like, the chai flavor, too. Anyway, she offered to send me hot chocolate, which is gonna get affected by the chocolate flavor, so... Anyway, she sent this to me, so she sent me a bunch of this chocolate. I got banoffee pie, apple pie, and then classic hot chocolate. I love hot chocolate. She also sent me these cute garment tags, which I think are adorable. This trick-or-treat one might go on this dress. We'll see. Also, in this very cutely decorated with cats envelope, decorated on both sides, but I don't want to give away her address, a little card from Julian, I think is how you say her name. And then this person also does not comment, but I always ask for recommendations, so they sent me 5 pages of recommendations in all of these different categories, which I thought was amazing. So I'm going to check these out. There's one in here that I thought was amazing. What was that one? I want to know what Hijab Witch Blues is so bad. That's great. I'm gonna check that one out for sure. But yeah, lots of recommendations of things to check out, so I will be checking these out. Thank you very much for this card. If anybody ever wants to send me a letter, or like a postal mail, you can feel free to do so. I have a PO box that is listed down below at all times. I love getting mail. I save every single one of them. I have like these giant jars, kind of like the jar, the apothecary jar that's right there. That has thread in it. I have giant ones that have all my mail that I've ever gotten in them. So I do keep these things, and I look through them from time to time, and I love them. So if you send me a letter, thank you very much. All right, finish this gown. I'm gonna set a deadline of this that I need to get this done by like the middle of next week. No questions. Red Day bodice, definitely want to get done. Chitin should be easy, definitely want to get done. Obviously I need the undergown, I think is what I meant to write. Oh, maybe that does say undergown. It says undergowned. That's amazing. I'll change it. Okay, the dressing gown / banyan situation, sashes, and if I need to, a shimmies. All right, since all of you I'm sure are panicking because you know, Noelle, you're really slow. How are you possibly gonna get all this done? I know that I probably will not get it all done. I'm gonna try to prioritize those so that I know what will be the most useful thing. Like, getting sashes done is easy and it's very useful because it will like change up the outfits a little bit, so I'll do some of those. So I know that I could not make literally any of that and go with things that are in my closet right now, and I would be a-okay. I also know that I'm going with a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot, of very awesome people who will make sure that I look good, I have good hair, I fit in with the group. Like, there would be no problem. I could show up with just a bolt of fabric and Nicole would just like wrap me in it and I would look amazing. So like, we're cool. Like, everything is gonna be fine. If I don't get any of this done, it's okay. So I am not putting any weird pressure on myself. Like, trust me, I am aware of my own mental health, and I am like, I need to have an out for all of this, just in case like I decide that I need to sit in my bed and stare at the wall, because that is what I've been doing for quite some time. This is just a goal. I'm being compassionate with myself, as I think we all should, and I would like to go and have some new stuff to wear and you know, look pretty with my friends. So this is the goal. We'll see how we do. Okay, back to the skirt. Okay, I think I figured out this skirt pattern, which I didn't use for the Ada gown when I made, and it's very similar to this one, but I'm gonna try this one. Ugh, that makes me hate this thing being here because I still couldn't get the whole thing on the table, but I could get it much closer. Someday that might go somewhere else. I'm contemplating moving that to my bedroom. It's very inconvenient to have to go to my bedroom every time I need thread, but I'm also very annoyed with its placement right now, so we're gonna leave that. When I did my Ada gown, honestly, I just used the fabric. And I think for almost every iteration of an 18th century gown I've ever seen, you don't need to do this. You just need to pleat it and put it on. And it will be fine, and then you hem it. And you hem it where you need to hem it, and it will be fine. So I don't think you have to do this. I'm vaguely interested in seeing if this helps in any way. So I'm gonna try it. Which, this is the dumbest possible time to try it. It's like when I don't have enough time, because I really don't have enough time to do this. But we're gonna give this a go anyway. I'm gonna pin this thing, and I'm gonna try to cut this to the shape. This is the top center. That's the bottom center. And here is the full totality of the curve I'm gonna cut. It's so slight that I'm like, does this matter? Really? Really? It's probably easier to hem. Might come out a little bit better. I don't know. I'm gonna try it. Let's try it. Let's see how it goes. Just try. Alright, I've done this. I have added this. I need to zigzag the top and the bottom so it doesn't, it's already starting to fray. I just finished this. It's already starting to fray because it's cut on a curve. So this is very important, and I'm gonna go do this now. Zigzag done. Today we pleat. I am so excited for pleating day. We have to pleat down like 5 inches or so. I would probably go farther than that. It's a little bit, like, I like to have a good solid base to flip this over, because part of it gets flipped over, pleated inside. You'll see in a minute. Let me show you what I'm gonna modify from these instructions. Okay, we have a book. Oh, I should probably do this basting as well. I'll do it. It says to measure from here to here. There is a mark you can measure to on your pattern piece. I don't know, it's just really the highest point. I actually like to bring this forward just a little bit more until just when it starts to curve. And that's largely because if you don't, sometimes your petticoat top can stick out from that area. I've just always found that it was much better to just move this point a little bit more forward than one might normally. So I'm gonna go measure that and start pleating. Okay, my measurement is somewhere between maybe 15.5 and 16 inches. We'll see how it turns out. The easiest way to do this is to just do 1/2 at a time. Don't even think about the whole thing, because I mean, I have like 180 inches to pleat. Like, it's so much fabric. It will get down into that. You do either a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch pleats. You want to make them a little bit deeper in the back than they are in the front, so you can be kind of liberal with your pleats. Like, that's not a problem. So it's really not that difficult once you just do it. They're all done by eye. Don't try to be methodical about it or mathematical. That is the fastest way to insanity. So my recommendation is just to take it like 1 pleat at a time. You will get there. It's really not difficult. are done with this one side. I'm trying to figure out, I think I do, maybe I'll do the other side first. I was going to see if I wanted to baste it first and then go to the other side, but it might be easier to see what it looks like together if they're at least on the same footing. So I'm going to turn this whole thing around and do it on the other side of my table because it's easier to do it like I was kind of showing you, where I stand here and just pull them towards me. It's much easier to do it that way, in my opinion, than it is to like stand this way and try to like pinch it evenly, because if you're standing towards it, then you can put both hands under and feel it. So I don't know. Anyway, this is how I do it. I'm going to turn it around so the head of it will actually be on that end. And the reason I was like kind of thinking about basting it down was because this would necessarily hang over the edge. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to do that. So I'm going to baste it down because it's going to hang over the edge and I'm going to essentially be leaning against it because I was leaning against this, which is what will happen. So I'm going to do that, baste it down. Also breaks up the process so you don't have to baste so much all at once because that is kind of a pain in the butt. All right, we are all basted. I started doing it one way and I decided that was stupid, so I went to this method. But this is good. This is all basted and tied down, so now I'm just going to go do the exact same thing to the other side. So side number 2 is done. And we can officially get this off the board. And I'm going to go do this again so that we can get that off the board. Okay, we are fully basted. So excited about that. I have to wake up early, so I'm going to go to bed, but I'm going to do this stuff tomorrow, hopefully. I don't know about that one. I don't know if that one's going to get done at all. We'll see. Alrighty, it's big attachment day. We're going to attach the bodice to the skirt now. It's kind of a complicated method, so let's get on with it. Okay, they tell you to lay your skirt down and then put your bodice over it, which makes sense. They're like, get it as straight as possible. And you can't do that on both sides at once. It's just like, it's not shaped for that. So I'm going to do one side at a time. And then they say either pin or baste it. And check to make sure that the skirt hangs over, like try it on, essentially. I did this with the Ada. You can't tell because all of this is in here. So like, it doesn't fall right. It falls totally weird. So like, you can't know that until later. This is a like trust exercise. So you just want to make sure that there's like enough seam allowance underneath here so that you have like 1/2 inch because you're going to fold that back over. So it's essentially going to double up the fabric and part of it. I will show you this, don't worry. So I'm going to go ahead and pin this down and measure this distance right here and make sure when I'm done that it is the same distance as that distance so that they're vaguely similar. They do not have to be perfect. This thing accordions, so you can kind of stretch it out and squish it in. I made it pretty liberal. Like, I think I was supposed to do 15.5 inches and it is like some amount over 16 inches on both sides. So I'm just kind of squishing it back up, which you can totally do. And then you sort of applique stitch it along this edge, which is like a type of felling stitch, I guess. And then on the other side, you push the excess down and do it again. That's what I did last time, and that's what I'm going to do this time. Okay, so this is where the instructions got confusing for me on Ada Gown, and where they're going to get confusing for me on this, because they tell you to baste or pin it on, which I have done, and then they tell you to flip it over and push all this down, which you can't do all the way because you have pins in there. And what you're actually going to do is essentially fold this and then it's going to get sewn like edge to edge, if that makes sense. So you kind of can't do their instructions the way they say you can, or I don't understand what you're supposed to do, which is completely possible, guys. So what I am going to do is go applique, stitch all of this along here, and then take these pins out, obviously, and then I can flip it over, and then I can stitch it again from the inside, which is what I'm going to do. I am going to slip this down to here at this point, so I can kind of like get this really well in here. Okay, her butt is officially attached. Yes, it is supposed to do that. That's kind of the point of this. This is kind of the point of this dress. But yep, it's supposed to make you have a butt. like an actual butt. This was their... We're not allowed to, like, sexualize people, really. So we're gonna do it through our clothes. And also, your boobs are gonna hang out here. Although my boobs don't do that. So that's great. Very excited. That means we're very close to the end. Let's go look at the board. Okay. We did this, we did this, and we did this. I may or may not do this. I kind of want to see if it falls okay. If it doesn't, I'll do these plates. Otherwise, I will not. So I really need to do a hem and then do sleeves. These are all sleeves, and then the trim, and I am feature complete on this dress. So I'm very excited about that. I'm going tomorrow to fit the sleeves at Lori Tavin's house. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and make these sleeves so that they are ready to go. I want to make a sample of them first just to make sure everything is cool and that they fit fine, like around my arm, and then I'll let her put it on my dress however she deems fit. And then by tomorrow night I will have these. If I can talk her into it, I will also have her like check out my hem and pin it for me, and then I'll just sew that up and we'll have that done. Let's just put a W next to that. Today's Tuesday, tomorrow's Wednesday. That's how I'm like, this is where we are, guys. I'm like breaking things down into what day I have to do what by. And then this would also be a W. That guy, not sure when or what is going to happen there, but we'll get to it. So we'll see how it goes. Might as well look at this list too while we're here. I've added an additional thing. This used to be number 5. Now this is number 5. I realized because I made a cute dressing gown, which you guys have probably already seen. If not, it'll be linked down below for you. It's a Halloween one where it's orange copper on the outside and black on the inside. That this gown would look really great with a copper petticoat. So I might make that and bring it too. Just keep adding jobs for myself. I leave 1 week from today. So like I essentially have 6 days from now to get everything done. Plus whatever I have tonight. So we're in a bit of a pickle at this point. I am pretty sure I'm gonna get this done. I am sure I will get this done and this done. I don't know about that. I don't know about these. We'll see. These aren't critical because I have other chitons I can wear. That'll be fine. The day bodice is optional. I don't need it to live or anything like that, but it would be cool, and I do in fact have all the stuff ready to go to make that. So we're gonna try. Okay, I have created sleeves. They still need to have their like little cuffs sewn in, but whatever. Okay, these 2 things were done. Hello from the day before I have to leave. This was the most chaotic vlog, and I completely understand that. If you're still here, give me a to the end down in the comments because we're almost done. All we have to do left is do the hem. Cut the trim. Make the trim, attach the trim. And put the shoulder straps on. Is that it? That's it. Then we're done. Yay! Alright, this is normally where I would give you the big reveal. Unfortunately, my dress is now packed, so I cannot give you the big reveal. All of the under things are packed. There's no way for me to do that. So here's a little clip so that you can see what it looks like. And that was the making of this dress. Ooh, lessons learned on this dress. Man, those fronts are kind of a nightmare. I think my pro tip that I have learned from other people who have made this gown is, one, that the fronts should not be cut on the bias. Like if you're gonna do that detached lining situation, don't cut it on the bias. The alternate is to not sew it down. Like you can sew the top and the bottom and just never do the line going down and then pin that line. So that might be something I explore in the future, but I think the stretching is happening because of that sewed line. So I'm either gonna I'm gonna put another one on at some point whenever I get more black taffeta, which is maybe quite a while because black taffeta is hard to come by right now. So I'm either going to not do it on the bias or I'm not gonna sew that line. I'm not sure what yet. The second thing that I learned that I don't know if I like completely went over, but the sleeves are really not good for me. Like there needs to be more in the sleeve head, the top of the head, because my sleeves cut pretty low, like pretty low. And then there's way too much in the underarm. Like I had to try those sleeves on 900 times. Lori and I both bought it. You can't rotate that stuff up. Like normally that room would be at the top and you would just put pleats in the top. That would look great. You can't really rotate it around because it'll make all the other points that are supposed to match certain spots not work out, and you'd have like a seam line going down the top of your arm. Like just, it's not right. So the underarm for me, which for some reason, like I don't have the back of arm fat that is expected for someone in my size range, I guess. I don't know. There's always too much stuff there and I always have to pull out. In this case, I have pleats in my armpit. And we are never going to tell anyone about that, except I just told the whole internet. So yeah, I think I need to invest in different sleeves, which may or may not happen in the future, and also put a new front on this dress before I'm like completely satisfied with it. But that will be a project for later Noelle. Current Noelle needs to go to sleep and then wake up and get on a plane and go to this ball and have a good time. So I'm gonna do that. Leave me messages down below. Let me know what you're into, what you're doing, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're reading, all of those things that I always ask you. Give me the lowdown. I'm still watching all the same things and listening to all the same things that I have been, so I don't know that that's gonna be exciting for anyone. Largely stuff you should know podcast. I'm listening to Time Police here and there, mostly podcasting. And then I'm watching Loki, Wheel of Time. There's a couple other shows. Oh, Our Flag Means Death came out. I have been downloading new recommendations. There's also a new Buffy the Vampire Slayer that has all of the original cast, not all of the original cast, but a lot of the original cast audiobook, and it's by Amber Benson, who played Tara. So that's exciting. So I'm very happy about that. So I'm going to be listening to that on my trip. Let me know what's up with you guys. How you doing? I will be vlogging from this trip, so I hope you guys all come along with me and enjoy the ride. It's going to be a lot of chaos. There's a lot of things going on. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I don't have any like idea what's going to happen. Like when I land in St. Louis, will there be a cab for me at 2 o'clock in the morning? Who knows? Let's find out. So yeah, we're gonna give all of that a try. So yeah, that should be fun. Hopefully I do not have a long COVID crash when I'm on this. I've scheduled myself with lots of time to like chill and relax and whatever. But I'm gonna start out with a photo shoot right away, and then I'm gonna go into a household of like 12 people. So it's gonna be kind of chaotic. So come along for the ride. Let's see what happens. All right, I'll see you guys next time with another vlog. Bye guys.